Hi, guys, this is Cindy Pressgraves, and this is Real Estate and the Adventures of Parenthood. And guess what? Today I want to talk about single. So what? So if you're single, who cares, right? But there's always this misconception about like, why are you not with anybody? Are you okay being by yourself? Do you want to be single? Oh no. Why are you not on dating apps? Who cares if you're enjoying yourself and having fun and self loving yourself, which is the number one priority that you should have for yourself? That's all it matters. Because once you start loving yourself, working on yourself, and getting to know everything about you, it's when you're going to attract that person, right? So that, let's say, for instance, if you focus on going to the gym and working on you physically, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally, that's all it's going to matter. Once you start focusing on all those little things that you love and want to do, that's where you're going to find your person. And you'd be like, but you're still single. I know. I'm not really looking, but it's going to be the enjoyment that it's going to bring you. Once you're happy with you, everything will fall into place. And for me, yes, I say I've been single for 5 years, but honestly, I mean, by the time I've been divorced with my ex-husband, it took me a while. It took me a while to actually find myself and heal. Know, like, what did I really want? Where did I want to be? Who did I want to be with? Do I want to go back with my ex? No. It would be if I were to go back with my ex, it's just like taking a shower and putting back my dirty underwear. And I don't like dirty underwear. I mean, do you like dirty underwear? No, right? So those are the things that you actually have to consider. Like sometimes we think it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just so easy to go back with my ex-husband or my ex-boyfriend or with my ex, whatever status you are, honestly. No, it's not. Once you do your work, you're not settling. You're not going to go back because if you go back, it's just like it's going to hold you back and you want to grow as a person because that's going to hold you back completely. And some people do. I mean, some people do go back with their exes. Sometimes it does work for the best. Sometimes they did need that space and they needed to work things out with them and, say like, hey, you know what? This is what I really wanted. But that's not the whole thing. I mean, it doesn't happen like that all the time. Life is not a fairy tale. It's not like Disney. Disney lied to us so many times, right? But in this case, it's just like, why are you single? You're single because you enjoy yourself. You enjoy your own company. I love going out by myself. I don't like being restricted. I don't like having someone nagging on me and walking on eggshells and saying, hey, where are you going? Where are you doing that? Or why are you spending that amount of money? So what? Leave me alone. I don't want to be dependent about anybody. I've done pretty good for myself and I want to continue it that way. But the right person will understand. I mean, if I want to go ahead and travel, I want to be able to travel. I don't want someone to tell me, oh, you can't do that. Why? Oh, no, I can't. Oh, I can't take off. I don't want someone to hold me back and tell me, hey, sorry, I can't take off those days. And sometimes you will have that person that'll be like, hey, let's go ahead and go on a trip. Let's plan things. And sometimes it works for the best, sometimes it doesn't work for the best. And yes, I mean, you do have to understand, sometimes you do have to compromise, especially if you're in a relationship. And for me, as being single, I'm not willing to settle. I have my expectations, I have my standards, and don't get me wrong. Yes, I said for 2023, I was not going to get on myself on dating apps. And to this day, I'm not on dating apps completely. I just network. I meet people through other people. I mean, if I like a guy, I just walk to them and say, hey, you're cute, or just make some funny conversation or so forth. And the humor and the funniness and the silliness is what actually gets you through the door, meaning not the door, but their phone number at least, or Instagram, right? Instagram, Facebook. I mean, I guess Facebook is for old people nowadays. I mean, hey, you know what? I'm almost 40, but I'm not there yet. But I still use Facebook and Instagram. TikTok a lot, Clapper, Twitter, LinkedIn for professional usage. But it's going to come down to, what do you really want? Are you jumping from relationship to relationship, or are you focusing on yourself? Are you working on you? What are the things that you really want to do? So last year, I wanted to get my pilot license. Pilot license, I wanted to jump off a plane. I wanted to travel more. And I did that. I think I did more stuff too. Can't remember right now on top of my head, but anything I've wanted in my bucket list, I've actually done it. And I haven't had any holdbacks or anything. Like, I go to restaurants, and where do I sit? I sit at the bar by myself. Doesn't mean I'm going to drink, but I make good contacts. I make good friends. I make connections, and that's all that matters to me. But if I were with someone else, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not saying you're limited and restricted, but it's going to come down to, does the other person have insecurities? That the other person Is the other person okay with that? Even if you're just having a drink by yourself, and you'll be like, you know what? That's something that I don't want to do. Or that's something that I need company all the time. I don't need company all the time. I personally am happy having a meal by myself. And, I have fun by myself, but I've learned to do all those things on my own, but it took me years. It wasn't like something that I was like, oh yeah, you know what? I want to completely do everything by myself. No, it didn't. I mean, once I got from I actually, my divorce ended. Well, my ex-husband, it was an abrupt move because he had to go to South Korea. And I was learning myself for the very first time to live by myself with my kids. And, I had never lived by myself. I was scared living, like staying in a house by myself with my kids. And so I moved. Let me tell you a little bit of a backstory. So I actually moved from my parents' house, and I got married. I got married when I moved to my parents' house, well, out of my parents' house. That was the first time. That was when I was 22. And then I never lived by myself. I got married, and that was it. So when I got divorced the first time, then I did move in with my ex-husband, the kid's dad, and I had never lived by myself at all. And it was like, for me, it was kind of like a shocker because once I moved in, once he actually PCS'd, or yeah, PCS'd overseas, it was like, what am I going to do now? I'm going to be by myself. And then I have two little ones. I was scared. Yeah, I did have a security system. That didn't mean anything, but it was me learning how to live on my own solo, not only by myself, but with two little ones. That time they were a year and a half and 3.5 years. And it was a process because, gosh, they were a handful. I love them, but I manage. But it was like relearning a whole routine, working things, managing, maneuvering, juggling things, because it wasn't me and the kid's dad, it was me. Like, how, as me as a single parent, even though I was married at that time, how can I accomplish all these things? How can I make things work? And learning me. Like, okay, it's not cooking for four anymore, it's cooking for two, for three. But now it's just like, I go to the gym by myself. I do everything on my own, but how do I learn those? It took time, especially moving to a new place. And a few months, not even 2 months later, I actually moved to Georgia. And that was like, okay, so we were together, but it was like we were not together because he was overseas. And it was like, okay, so I have to work late. I had to restart my whole life completely. And then through the divorce process, it took me time to heal. You know, it was a painful divorce, But then how did I achieve that? How did I actually make sure that I was doing good for myself and the kids? Prioritizing myself and becoming the best version of myself. It wasn't from one day to the other. It took me years to actually be where I'm at today. Like, I remember I used to care about what everybody said, and now it's like, I don't care. Whatever. Okay, they don't like me, keep on scrolling. And so I had to actually work on my self esteem. I had to work on my self confidence because I had no freaking confidence. I did. I mean, I did have a big mouth. I still have a big mouth. And it was like, what else do I do now? You know, how can I become the best version of me for my kids? But I didn't have that mindset. So it was the whole development mindset and perspective of it's okay to be a single mom. It's okay to be a single parent. It's okay to be single. It's okay to be by yourself. You don't have to depend on someone else. I mean, at that time, yeah, I mean, the reason I was scared of getting divorced was because I had no income, especially starting real estate. I mean, my first year, I think I made like $34,000. And that was like I think I did like less than 8 transactions. And it was like, wow, you know what am I going to do now? And, I can't get divorced. I have to keep on married to him because that's how I'm going to survive. I mean, what happens if I get divorced? Am I going to be able to keep on moving with that life or not? I mean, what about my paycheck? I mean, who's going to pay? Like, I was worried about like house payments. Well, I didn't have a car payment. I mean, house payments, daycare, uh, you know, all the food. I mean, clothes for the kids. And I didn't travel back then that much. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all this? And for me, it was scary. And one of the reasons I delayed my divorce was because I was scared. But I realized later on in life that it was okay. I just had to continue moving forward and just hustling. And, you know, no matter what happened, it was okay to be single. Many other people have done it, many other people have succeeded. It was like, am I ready for that journey? And sometimes we question ourselves. Sometimes we think we are doing the wrong thing. Sometimes we think we can't do it. But if we think that way, we're never going to go anywhere. But once we have the courage to move forward, then we're like, you know what? You look back years later, you'll be like, wow, I had to go through all of this stuff, all of these experiences to actually put me where I'm at today. Was it easy? No. And now it's just like the last relationship I had was around 3 years ago. And it was my ex-boyfriend. And I keep on thinking about that. Do I really want to be with someone that has like, I'll walk through eggshells, and not only eggshells, but you know, nagging and calling me because I didn't call them, say good night, or, they don't understand the stress or the deals or the whole real estate thing. And I think to myself, like, do I really want to do that? And that's one of the things that I'm okay without. I'm okay without fighting. I don't like arguing. I don't like, having issues with anybody. But it's going to come down to you attract what you want, but don't settle. Be patient because the right person's going to come at the right time. And that person is going to understand and comprehend everything that you want. And sometimes you do have to compromise. Not everybody's perfect. Yes, there's always going to be their ups and downs, and there's always going to be those arguments. But at the end of the day is, what do you really want? And can you live without a partner? Ask yourself this. If you are single now, can you live for the rest of your life single? Or do you need someone to spend the rest of your life with? Now, if you answered you are okay being single for the rest of your life, then you know what? You've done the work. But if your answer is, man, you know what? I need someone, I need someone, I need someone, you're being codependent. And there's something you have to work on yourself. Not really what you wanted to hear, right? So start working on yourself. Don't be desperate about just being in a relationship because honestly, would you rather be patient and have the rest of, live with that person for the rest of your life? And I mean, I understand soulmates are not forever. I mean, we have completely different soulmates in a lifetime. But would you want a good relationship that will last for a very long time? Or would you want a relationship that is just only temporary? I personally rather choose the permanent one and keep on moving forward and do everything I want and enjoy life because you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy. So I hope this helps, guys, and have a beautiful day.